The legacy corporate media claims we have clean elections in Ohio. They're lying. Our Secretary of State in Ohio tells us we have gold standard elections. He's lying. Our elected representatives tell us we have safe and secure elections in Ohio. They're lying. Why? Who knows? That many supposed conservatives fight against plugging the holes in Ohio's election system, eliminating vulnerabilities, is a mystery. Ohio's 88 county boards of elections run Ohio's elections. Many of them are dysfunctional. Today we're going to show you the clown show that is the Montgomery County Board of Elections. The Montgomery County Board of Elections supports the election process in one of Ohio's biggest counties. That makes it extremely important because the volume of voters in Montgomery County can swing elections. The 2024 presidential election was held on November 5th. The video clips you are going to see in this episode were from the November 15th meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Elections. You can watch the entire meeting in a recorded live stream on Facebook. The clip you'll see shortly will set up the discussion for the rest of this episode.
At this time, we would like to have the approval of the database and authorization to open the provisional ballots from the November 5th, 2024 general election. Director?
We don't have those numbers yet.
Okay. Moving right along to...
Here are the players from that clip. First, the four board members. Renee McLinn, chairperson and member, a Democrat appointee. Barbara P. Gorman, member, a Democrat appointee. Thomas A. Rootsong, member, a Republican appointee. Eric Blaine, member, a Republican appointee. Then the two senior employees, both serving at the pleasure of the board. Jeff Rezebek, director, the head of the BOE. There is no employee more senior than him. He heads the BOE, but for his reporting to the board. The buck should stop with him. Russ Joseph, deputy director, who reports to the director. Let's watch the clip again.
At this time, we would like to have the approval of the database and authorization to open the provisional ballots from the November 5th, 2024 general election. Director?
We don't have those numbers yet.
Okay. Moving right along to...
Remember, this video was taken on November 15th. The election was held on November 5th. That's 10 days. What this video is showing that in the 10 days this Board of Elections couldn't count the number of provisional ballots that were cast on Election Day. And the chairman is prepared to just move along. No examination of the cause of this. Nothing to see here. Let's just go to the next agenda item. Why is this such a big deal? Because by law, as you'll see on the screen, Ohio boards of elections were supposed to have their 2024 general election canvass completed, which is the counting of the votes and certification of those votes, by November 20th. 5 days from the date of this meeting, when they haven't been able to come up with the number of provisional ballots, not the tally of the votes on those ballots, but just the number of provisional ballots they had in hand. They couldn't do that in 10 days, and we're supposed to expect them to accurately count those provisional ballots in 5 days? The chairman seems almost unconcerned. Some gold standard, eh? In this next clip, watch the director blame everyone else but himself, call staffers out by name, and act like he has no responsibility for the work product of the organization he's supposed to be running.
Madam Chair, what do you mean we don't have those numbers today?
Yeah, I said not today.
He said yes. So we're waiting on them. Or that is the current status. We're waiting on these numbers to come to us. So we're moving on.
Who's supposed to have them? Getting confused.
Well, I've asked our team to have them. I've been down in there every day, well, since last Thursday. I've asked Jason, who's been in charge of that, if they needed assistance and all that, and I've been notified up until this past Thursday he was fine. I asked him every day, multiple times, do we need more staff? He's indicated no. However, we still don't have the numbers.
I thought it was CC who was in charge of that.
Well, he's in charge of the department. Jason is in charge of the provisionals. That's how they divided it up.
So neither one of them is.
So where are they now?
Well, no, Cece did at our G8 meeting. She was in there begging, which was different from what I had been told by Jason multiple times.
Not to be deterred from ignoring this, the chairman once again pushes to move to remakes.
Director, are you stating, right now, we're still waiting on these numbers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They're coming up, oh, I'm sorry.
Now, let me ask you this. Is it because we're waiting up on these numbers, can we still move to the next item on the agenda?
Yes, we can move in the remix.
Okay, but our board members, do you have any other questions you want to ask the director?
But some members have questions. Here the director is asked if he will have the numbers today. Watch how he responds.
One question, just for clarification. That is,
Okay, Member Gorman, go ahead. Then you, Member Blank.
that information is coming up today.
I've asked for it. I've asked for it yesterday. I was given some numbers late yesterday by Jason. Apparently those numbers have changed as of this morning. I've asked him to have a final number for me because we were having the meeting at 8:30 today. It was no secret. We were having the meeting at 8:30 today and we're still waiting for such numbers.
Again, he blames his staff and throws them under the bus. This is not leadership. This is incompetence and lack of character. When a Republican appointee to the board starts drilling down on the problem, the director seems to be unable to lead with anything other than blame.
Member Blank.
So these numbers were supposed to be done for today's meeting, right?
Yes.
And did you allocate enough or sufficient personnel to this?
Yes, based on the information I was given by Jason and then what CC mentioned in our G8 meeting that we had, I believe on Wednesday, we allocated more people as of, I know yesterday, throughout the day yesterday and the afternoon of Thursday or Wednesday, we allocated more people from other departments.
So last night, yesterday was the first time that additional people got allocated.
No, Wednesday afternoon and then all day yesterday.
Notice it took 8 days for the director and assistant director to realize they weren't going to make a deadline that was 2 days away. So they started reallocating staff to counting provisional ballots Wednesday afternoon, November 13th, when they knew the board's deadline was Friday, November 15th. This is incredible dereliction of duty. The assistant director appears to be no more capable than the director. Listen to his unwillingness to answer specific questions and his near arrogance in speaking to a board member at whose pleasure he serves. Could you get away with this in the job you have or the jobs you've had?
Is that a yes or no to you were with the director working on these Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I don't know exactly which days and which times. I was not here Saturday. I had family plans on Saturday. I was here Friday, Sunday.
So all the time that you guys have spent since the election has been solely exclusively on these ballots, working to get the ballots done, working to get this information completed so that we have accurate tallies for today's board meeting.
So we,
Is that
Excuse me, Member Ralph, we want to have order here. So, continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Member Blank?
Thank you.
Okay. Member Gorman?
I'm continuing, yes, I am continuing, thank you for that.
Oh, you're,
I've asked the question, I'd like an
okay,
answer to
so
that.
you're continuing,
Yes.
all right.
Russ?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
All the time that you have spent on this and all the time the staff has spent on this has been to count ballots, tally ballots, and ensure that provisionals are remade, or not provisionals, but ones that you can remake have been remade, things have been counted, and the systems have been logged properly.
Yes, that is what everyone here has been doing since
Nothing
election
else.
day. I don't know about nothing else. I mean, there's all kinds of activities that we need to do. So it's a pretty unspecific question, but everything has been election related, yes.
That was a very specific question, so nothing.
Well, you have something in mind, so maybe ask what that is. I don't know how else to answer that question.
An answer like the one you'll see next would have gotten me fired in the jobs I held during my career.
How many hours did you spend on something that was not involved in this?
Involving provisionals?
Involving the numbers, having things ready for today's board meeting for the board, and so we can count and tally the election properly.
I don't remember. I don't have an answer for that.
Here's where we learn that there are 6,500 provisional ballots that couldn't even be counted in 10 days.
The bulk, if not 95% of my time has been spent solely on trying to get ready for today's numbers so that we can open the provisionals, because we have somewhere north of 6,500 to get open and done, plus working to get the remakes done, not only that were being scanned, but then we had the Uokava remakes that we had to finish so that you guys can approve them as of today. So that's
One of the Republican appointees starts to mildly turn up the heat.
Member Blaine, are you?
Madam Chair, I think I'm going to have more questions as we go on about why these numbers aren't ready. Well, 24 hours in advance of today's meeting, there's no reason they shouldn't be, and it sounds like there has been the consistent issue that we've had here. The director has very clearly allocated, told us about how much time he spent on this. There is no reason that every single ballot has not been counted as appropriate for today's meeting.
Except for those that need to be, that we need to open.
Every single ballot as appropriate.
That's appropriate.
We should have a number of exactly how many provisionals are to be ready for today's meeting. Last night, well before today, there's no reason we should not have those numbers to work on. And if they're still working, if people are still working on it right now, we need to find out why it's not been done and have them in here. So at some point today, I think that will be the question I specifically asked.
The Democrat member, who isn't the chairman, seems more concerned about the director naming people than not having a count of provisional ballots when the certification deadline is only 5 days away.
Member Gorman?
Okay,
Excuse me, and then you, Member Ralston.
I am very disappointed in the director for throwing an employee by name under the bus. It's my understanding, and I won't mention other names because I don't do that in a public meeting. Personnel issues are handled otherwise. It's my understanding that the person in charge of that department was out sick, which is not a
You already
problem.
mentioned her name, remember, you already mentioned CC. You did.
I didn't.
So you can call her out. Yes, you did. You asked if she was in charge of the department. She said CC's in charge of the department. So you did throw her out, so.
The
We're
director,
gonna be calling the spade a
the
spade. Let's go
head
with that.
of the department, my understanding was out sick, and that legitimately, and that the people worked together. And Jason was handling a couple of jobs. There were other people there too. Clearly there was a problem. It's something we have to get into. But to pick out one person who at least part of the time was doing two jobs is, I think, inappropriate. Basically, what we should have heard today is that due to problems, whatever, the numbers aren't here, and we will figure out what happened. We will get them as soon as possible. This is not the place to call out an employee. I think that's unprofessional.
Once again, the chairman wants to move on.
Thank you, Member Gorman, Member Ralston, and then, can we, after you, Member Ralston, can we just move on to the remade ballots that we have here so we can continue the process? Go ahead.
And here's the wrap up. Before the board does move on to remaking ballots, their terminology, not ours.
Well, Madam Chair, I think we have things to go on right now. We have questions that need to be answered right now. Letting this matter continue on when other issues were addressed that probably shouldn't have been, because the day is not ready, calls into highlight the questionable decision-making that was done for those requests rather than focusing on this election. And I'd like to get to the bottom of that today.
I understand what you're saying, Member Blank, but I'm also considering, and I just want you to consider this. Yes, there's an issue. Yes, we need to deal with this issue, but we also need to deal with what is in front of us, is approving to get to the numbers that we need so we can, at least folks are waiting for us to certify an election, which will happen next week. Okay, so we need to get that done. But if you want to continue to question the director and the deputy director on this, that they brought, they know there's a problem. We know there's a problem. How we're going to address it is another issue. Should we be doing that now when we are tying, since we don't have the information to tie up their time that they could get back to get what we need?
Well, this would be the first time I think some of them have actually gotten back to doing that. But we have information to go on right now. They have certain amounts of time to get this done. The people that are counting us to certify an appropriate election timely need to see this as well.
You know, we owe this.
Mr. Director, is there things we can move on today, right now?
Yes, we can approve the remix.
So what does this board do to reprimand or penalize the director and assistant director for this level of incompetence and arrogance? At their January 6th board meeting, give them bonuses and raises with your money, your tax dollars.
Member Gorman?
I have a motion. I move to grant the director and the deputy director a 4% cost of living salary increase for 2025 and a one-time merit payment of $1,500 in alignment with the full staff merit payment granted in December and 3 weeks of compensatory time for 2025.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries.
I like a motion that I did sustain. Abstain.
Okay.
Okay.
May we duly note that after the vote was taken, that member Routes moved to abstain.
And we wonder why our taxes are so high. This is a clown show, yet our Secretary of State keeps telling us we have gold standard elections in Ohio. Does this look like gold standard to you? This is just one of 88 county boards of elections in Ohio. There are many others that are run just as shoddily as this. It's challenging to track the activity of 88 boards of elections. If your board of elections isn't running as you believe it should, please let us know, and we will be happy to shed some light on their activity. Together, we can expose the malfeasance and inefficiency, as well as the waste of your money by these out-of-control government entities. This video is brought to you by the Grassroots Freedom Initiative, or GFI for short. If you're not already on our email and text lists, please be sure to join our network of thousands of Ohioans. It's easy, free, and we won't ask you for money. Visit gfiohio.com and click the Join Us button in the upper right-hand corner of any page, or text the letters GFI to 66866 and follow the prompts. And please be sure to find and follow us on YouTube and Rumble. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give us a like to be made aware when we post new content. Thanks for watching. Please remember to stay informed and get engaged.